This conference.
9:30 yet. Let's say the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good morning, everybody. This is the Mitchell County Board of Supervisors meeting. We're at Mitchell County Courthouse in Osage. Excuse me. The meeting is available virtually also by GoToMeeting. We have an agenda in front of us, and we need to have a correction made to the agenda on a mistake that I did. So if you look at item number 8, when I sent it to Rachel, I didn't include the word agreement. So after the word amendment, I have the word agreement. So we are not approving the urban renewal plan amendment today. We are approving that agreement between Mitchell County. So what it needs to say is resolution approving Mitchell County urban renewal plan amendment agreement between Mitchell County and City of Osage. That's all I have for corrections on it. If there's any other, I'll listen. We'll say what it is. Otherwise, I'll accept the motion to approve it.
I'll move to make that motion with the corrections.
Brian makes a motion. Is there a second? Petro seconds. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Approve the minutes of the August 8th and 9th meeting. Is there any corrections? Otherwise, I'll accept the motion to approve them.
Make a motion for the August 8th, 9th meeting.
Henderson makes a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
30 seconds. Any discussion? Hearing none.
Roll call, Jim.
Aye.
Sydney. Aye. Mike.
Aye.
Mark.
County Attorney General discussion.
Don't necessarily have a lot specific. I know it's indicated another time. I know Kathy Showalter, I think she's drafted an ordinance. We were talking about it earlier. So I know some notices have to be done and things like that. I'll do that. I guess that's the big thing. Trying to remember what else I guess I was going to bring up. I don't know if there was anything specific. It seemed like maybe there was something that wasn't necessarily urgent. If I think about it, I'll email it. I guess that's it.
Okay. Any questions for the attorney?
When did Kepi's apart?
I think what it was. That's coming up.
Because it wasn't for the 11th, but it got changed.
Yes.
September 8th.
Is that what it is? I mean, I keep track on it. I just didn't remember exactly what it was.
Thank you, Richard.
Yeah. Just, I think that's the date. We're trying to get all the witnesses available at the same time, so.
Okay.
All right.
That's it.
Okay.
We're ready to go.
Thank you much. Approved sheriff report for July.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Again, I apologize for the late, getting the reports to you late. That's on me. I just simply forgot with everything got going on. So anyway, the sheriff's fees for July were $2,325.68 is what was collected.
Is there a motion to approve fees collected at $2,325.68?
I'll make a motion to approve that.
Mayor makes a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Petro seconds. Any discussion? Hearing none.
Roll call, Todd.
Aye.
Mark.
Aye.
Mike.
Aye.
Sydney. Aye. Jim.
Aye.
Just a couple other things. I'm available for Wednesday's meeting tomorrow. Thursday, however, we have been notified of a plea change in a criminal matter, and we need to take a defendant to Franklin County. So I may be late or not available at all on Thursday, depending on how that plays out. What's scheduled for tomorrow? I don't think I have anything else that's too earth shattering for you today.
And bring that up to the people tomorrow, just so they're aware of it, and we'll
I will.
plan accordingly.
The final thing I want to just mention to you is Brian McKinley, who was comp board rep, that represented the sheriff's office. His term ended July 1st of this year, and he no longer wants to be part of that. So I guess if there's anybody out there that wants to represent the sheriff's office, reach out to me and we can talk about things. Otherwise, I'll be looking for a new comp board rep for this year. Thank Brian for the 8 years he worked with me. Did a lot of good for us, and so I appreciate his help there. It's a little bit different now on the sheriff's office side because the way the statute is written, they don't have a lot of input. I mean, we run the numbers and it is what it is, and then my rep brings that to the rest of the comp board and then ultimately to you guys. So the work that they do now, although it's still important, is not what it was 5 years ago because of the way the statutes now are written. So anyway, there'll be a new face this fall or winter when we start that process that represents the sheriff's office. So otherwise, that's it. That's all I have. Questions? Okay.
You're good, thank you.
Thank you.
I remember one thing I'm going to Franklin County too, for that plate change on Thursday. It's fairly early in the morning.
8:30.
8:30. Shouldn't take all that long. Every time I say that, then it ends up taking a long time. The plate change normally does not take very long. So that's that date. I don't know if I was, I can email you, can email.
Okay.
It's just that I'm gonna be there too. I know there's a day, that day stuff's going on, and whether I need to be around or not, I guess I probably will be, but probably be later in the morning.
Okay, very good. All right. Department head discussion.
I got some.
Yes.
Conservation Board had our monthly meeting last month. One of the big things that we had on the agenda at 6 o'clock, we had a public meeting on the dam repair that we're gonna be doing this fall with the upstream, the trash rack, the upstream side of the powerhouse. We had that at 6 o'clock. I think we had close to 40 people there. Basically to do a quick recap of that, don't wanna go into the whole half-hour discussion, but basically we are in the process right now of getting our license variance taken care of, which is a step-by-step process, which we're in the correct steps that we need to be taken to get to that. Once we get the variance, then we'll be allowed to draw down the reservoir. We'll be lining up our contractor for next month. At our board meeting, we'll line up and select our contractor type thing. But long story short, we're gonna draw down the reservoir above the dam. We have to do that in a step-by-step process, so we wanted the public to know that that's our time frame right now is end of October. And it's gonna take us anywhere between 2 to 6 weeks to complete the project that we have on hand. So if people wanted to do work on their shorelines and stuff, they have to go through and get permits and stuff of their nature, and we wanted them to know the information they needed to know so they could go get their permits if they wanted to do it. But the other thing that we also made sure that we got out to the individuals that came was, our goal is that this project is done this fall, but understanding when you're doing a license variance on lowering the reservoir, you could run into a hurdle type thing, just like we did last year. Last year about June is when we realized the project wasn't gonna happen that last fall, because we had to go through other hurdles. When you're talking federal government stuff, you got other hoops and ribbons and stuff you gotta get through. We may run into a snag this fall. You never know when you're doing variances and you're talking about lowering a reservoir that much. You gotta go through that stuff. So we wanted the public to be aware that while our schedule right now is to do it this fall, if something comes up that we have to do more work on it, then we may have to push it off till next year. But our goal right now is to do it in October, 2 to 6 weeks, but we can't give much of a notice. We'll know a week in advance because it's all gonna be based on what the weather conditions are, how high the reservoir is, and then what our contractor is available. Once we get the contractor selected, being able to move forward with it. The individuals that be bidding on the project, we've made some companies aware of it so they know that this was coming at this time frame. So like I said, 40 people were at that meeting, went pretty well. We board motion approved to go ahead and make modifications to what's called the MIB, which is your wetland mitigation bank construction. Basically, what we're changing on that is our growth rate on vegetation on the wetland area. Our current MBI stated that we had to get to 75% native vegetation. Well, the reality of it is you can't get to 75% native vegetation in 1 year. It takes you 5 years to get to 75%. Your first year, you're gonna have a lot of weeds because it's prairie grass. When you're doing prairie restoration, what happens is your roots start going first. So the weeds, of course, pop up above ground, but your native plant root system is getting established below ground. So it takes 5 years, so we had to set up a plan so that we could put that into place. Let's see here. We did a supplemental agreement with Schneider Associates for doing the well management. So we had to stick, I think there's 5 wells that we installed out here last month. And then you have to track that stuff throughout the year. And they've got the tracking software and the reports and stuff that we need. So they're helping us get set up with that. That was not part of the original agreement we had with them. Then we've got to monitor that. That'd be for our mid-year and annual report that required for the next 20 years while the life of the bank is going on. So we have to put that in there. Oh, the other modification to the MIB is we're lowering our bond requirements. So we're supposed to be insured, as the wetland is required to be insured. We're lowering that from $450,000 down to $50,000. We had to have it at 450 during the construction process. Once it was done, then we can lower it to 50, and we'll through those steps. And then the other thing, the big thing that we discussed was the board tours. We're gonna be doing them sometime in September. Board wants to take a look at a few things. One of those things that they want to look at is the property up at Hoffman area by Otrano, the house up there, as to what we're gonna be doing with that aspect of it. We'll be looking at a few other sites and stuff that's there too. And then the rest of the stuff was just kind of little small stuff on the parks and campgrounds that we just needed to update. So, questions?
When they do the monitoring, Snyder, are they associated with it for the next 20 years?
No, nope, this is just a one-time, they give us the software, the records, the educational thing on how to report, what needs to be reported, what we're tracking, how often it needs to be tracked, that sort of stuff. And then we had Andy Teets, he went through the certification process, so he's certified to be able to do the reports and do the tracking. If we didn't have him go through that training, then we would have had to pay someone to do it, but it was easier for us to send him through the training, so that way we've got that on. So Andy and I will be the ones that learn how to do the monitoring, the reporting, and all that sort of stuff. Andy's the certified one, but I'll have the knowledge of it, and then if you know, the goal, the backup plan, like I always try and put everything in place of backup plans. If something was that, if Andy was to move on, go to a different job or something of that nature, then I'd go through the certification process. There's no need to send 2 of us because it does cost. So right now we've got Andy, we kind of moved that, but if Andy was to not be employed by us anymore, then I would go through those processes, but I don't see an issue. See Andy leaving anytime soon. He's a pretty good employee, so we're gonna try and keep him type thing, so. That's kind of where we're at, but yeah, if we didn't have Andy certified, then we'd have to pay someone, and that's why we gotta get him get certified so we can go ahead and do it. But they gotta get us set up so we can do all that monitoring and tracking and software set up, and then we can begin it from there.
Any updates on the recycling, John?
Yeah, so not to pile on this Thursday thing, but Thursday I got interviews all day for the recycling center job. That's when that was the only day that I could make work, so. I start at 8 in the morning and I don't finish till 5. We have a number of interviews lined up, and then I do have another meeting out with Brian Lynch on some stuff we're doing out there. So Thursday, I'll be here tomorrow, but Thursday I've got interviews pretty much every hour, so I'll be taking care of that stuff.
You wanna let them know tomorrow then?
Yes, I will, yep. And that was, like I said, the only time I wanted to get it done this week, and that was the only day I had this week to make work with everything else going on, so. Sorry about that, the way it goes.
How many applicants do you have?
We had over close to 20 applicants. I don't remember the exact number, and I think we're doing somewhere around, I think it's 7 or 8 applicant interviews.
Do you have any goals as far as your upgrading any of your parks or anything like that?
Yep, I've been working on that. We started back in February with the strategic planning type thing, a capital strategic planning type thing for the conservation board. And then I've been working on getting pricing and everything on those plans that are out there that we want to kind of work on. So I'm hoping to finalize that here by the end of this month, and then that way I can present it to the board and then kind of go from there. Okay. So yeah, we've got some ideas of things we want to do for upgrades within our department. It's just a matter of, you gotta track pricing down. Sound good? Other questions? All right, thanks, everybody. Have a good one.
Any other department head discussion? So I have a couple things. Dave might be busy. He's the one that's knowledgeable about this, so I will try to stumble through this. We have a air handling unit, I believe is what it is, in the second story of the courthouse that's been giving us some trouble. And we got a price from Casper in order to do it. I don't want to discuss all of that because it's not on the agenda, but I did want to bring it up in department head discussion. He would probably be able to discuss the history of what's been going on with it much better than what I could. We'll have this on the agenda for next week, and then we can discuss it in detail and look at the price and that type of thing. So just wanted to give a heads up on that. And then we got a email from Riceville Mayor in regards to, I think everybody probably got that. Does the board want me to reply to her? Does the district supervisor want to reply to her? Does the fair board individual want to reply to her? What's the board want to do? We should probably reply to her email.
I discussed it with the fair board, and the fair board's willing to come to a meeting. There's a lot of case scenarios with the carnival, the 4-H, the FFA, the animal, Iowa State Fair. There's a lot of things that we'd have to go through to change the fair. And they would discuss it in detail if we had to. It would be too hard to move a week-long fair, and then even what happens before the fair even comes with the weigh-ins and all that. So I don't know if you'd want to invite her, and then,
We can probably do that. I just didn't want to ignore the email because she had a concern, and so I wanted to follow up on it. Somebody follow up on it, so I can email her back and let her know something to what you just said if you want, or unless you want to do it.
I would like her to talk to the fair boards, that's with and so they can discuss what they discussed with me, but I know the email was to the board of supervisors, so.
Wouldn't it be better if she went to the fair board meeting instead of here?
Yeah,
I think so. So we don't have nothing to do with it.
it's not like we choose the dates.
And I think that would be the way to do it, but again, you notice how the email was written to wondering if the board of supervisors could weigh in on it or whatever, but I'm with you, we really don't have anything to do with that.
If you could give me the not at this moment, but the email of the chairman for the fair board, and then I'll just reply back to her in regards to that maybe she should do that, or I'll say a number of different things and at least get back with her, so.
Yeah,
We need to
whenever
have
the
a-
next fair board meeting is. They have one anytime.
I'm not sure because I think they have a post fair meal, and then that's considered, I think, that month, so
Okay.
it'd be, I can talk to Audrey Barker and see when the actual next fair board meeting would be.
You and I can talk, and then I'll send her something. Okay. All right?
Yep.
Okay, very good. That is all I have for that. County engineer update. Morning. Good morning.
Morning.
Couple of things, I had a request, I think Stacyville does some Tuesday night thing in town.
Yes.
Yeah, they requested if we could bring a motor grader out there tonight. We have, one of our operators lives there, you can take it out there if you guys are okay with them taking it out there. I know we did it for the Easter, and we do it for the fair, or the ag safety thing, so if you guys are okay with it, let him go out there and just take it for, I think they're taking tractors and stuff this week. I don't know if they do something different every week, like, I don't know.
I think,
but-
yeah, every month or whatever.
Or yeah, every month they do something. I don't know if they always bring big equipment, but I think they wanted to bring big equipment this time, so.
They did this, I don't think they've done it in the past.
So,
Just something for the kids to look at.
yeah, if you guys are okay with that, we'll just take one up there and let the kids look at it. Contractor, I think, is gonna move in either today or tomorrow to put the final lift on Balsam Avenue, so that project should be closing out here in the next couple of weeks as far as construction goes. Right now, they're shouldering in Worth County, so I'm sure that they'll follow up right behind the paver to get that job done. I'm not sure when painting comes in yet. We did, look around. I've been working with the mechanic and the foreman on a skid loader, and we found the one that best fits our needs, the skid loader. We're gonna look at purchasing. I think we're gonna just purchase it. It's a John Deere. It's got like 100 hours on it, so it's basically new. It's available now. It's about $96,000, but it's gonna fit the bill, and it's cheaper than a cat skid loader, and it's available now. The other ones, any other person that we've contacted either hasn't gotten back to us or just doesn't have something the size we're looking for that's available now. So we'll probably look at getting that purchased. It's in the budget to purchase a skid loader this year. We've got some other small equipment purchases we're looking at doing too, so.
Is it wheeled or tracked?
It's tracked. It's a pretty decent sized skid loader. So actually it was the one they were using I think they used one similar at the fairgrounds for the demo derby and stuff, but this one was sitting at the fairgrounds over the fair week. So we're gonna pull the trigger on that. Worth County approved yesterday. I'm getting a vehicle for my road foreman over there, and then I need to update mine. So we're approving a vehicle over there for me. We'll split the cost between the two counties. I think we're getting I'm gonna get a pickup this time. That way we can hand it down to the departments, whichever county needs a pickup in their department as time goes on. I know here we get sheriff's trucks, so we're always updating, but over in Worth County, we don't always get it, but we'll utilize it, and I'll try to cycle some things a little faster so we're not always scrounging around looking for vehicles. But I think the purchase price is gonna be around $43,500 for a pickup. That's kind of the going rate. It seems like anymore. They don't have a lot of government discounts anymore, but we'll split the cost and we'll go from there. So if you guys are okay with that, we're gonna proceed with it. The foreman pickup we were ordering over there for Worth County got sold within a couple of days of us saying we're gonna want to commit to it. We just needed to get board approval, and they sold it over the weekend, so now we look for another one. So so that's what's going on. And then I want to maybe discuss just coming up, and winter's coming up. Our snow policy indicates, and it's got to do with mailboxes. It seems like over time we've always had a standard of practice, and it's not really defined in our snow policy what to do about mailboxes, other than they say a malicious contact. Well, I guess we've always been on the assumption that if we physically hit a mailbox with a plow, we replace the mailbox. It doesn't say in the policy what kind of mailbox. We've always been going to the practice that it's been a standard mailbox and whatnot. And it even seems like sometimes, even if we don't hit it, we're always replacing mailboxes anyway. But I think what I want to do is kind of finalize some language in the policy that says, this is exactly what we're going to do. Sometimes I get the feeling, I know that there are standard mailboxes and there are some pretty fancy mailboxes out there. My opinion is if we physically damage something, I mean, we're not out there doing something on purpose, but if we physically damage somebody's mailbox, then I don't think that it's fair to replace it with something less than what they paid for. Just for the simple facts, I know that it's in the right of way and there's always that possibility that it gets damaged. But I think if we physically damage it with our equipment, that's one thing, but hitting it with snow is another thing. And I really want to specify, and I know it says if it's damaged by snow, we don't do anything, but over the years, even before I got here, it seems like we just kind of been slowly, anytime a mailbox gets knocked over, we're fixing mailboxes all the time. But I want to put something in the policy that states, hey, look, we'll provide you with a mailbox of the initial cost of what, because for instance, there are some mailboxes out there that are specifically made, the John Deere ones, or you've got a pretty heavy, some people like the heavy duty mailboxes out there, so their packages fit in them. And if we physically hit that mailbox and we destroy it, we go put a cheap one backup. That's probably not, in my opinion, fair to the landowner. So we'll either supply the mailbox, or what I'm thinking of doing is maybe just giving them the money to purchase their new mailbox. But I want to go through the policy and maybe define it better than just this general, if we hit it, we'll replace it. If we don't hit it, we won't, because it doesn't really specify what we're actually going to replace it with. Jim, I know you've been out there and we've always kind of just, it's a cheap mailbox. We'll put the cheapest mailbox we can out there because it just collects mail, but the policy doesn't state it. I know our practice has always been to do that, but it seems like more and more we run into this, and it's, well, I spent, $100 in this mailbox and we're putting a $20 mailbox out there. And so I think I want to just maybe have it defined a little bit better in the policy, if you guys are okay with reviewing some of that stuff. And maybe there's something else in the snow policy we should look at again and maybe review before winter. If you guys are willing to look at that, we can look at that.
The difficult part of that's gonna be if, if we make physical contact with it, it's obvious that we need to fix it, but if, and it's not always, it is not operator error when I say this, but when you have a wall of snow coming off the wing, nothing's really gonna survive that.
Right.
And, in those instances, yes, we probably did damage the mailbox. We didn't make physical contact with it, but this wall of snow, that's hard to define.
It is.
I mean, it's, so.
That's a difficult we have. We say if we don't physically hit it with the snow, and you read those heavy wet snows, and it doesn't matter. We're not going to slow down for every mailbox, because otherwise you just pile it up. But it just happens. But I mean, if we physically damage them, if there's evidence that we hit it, then I think that's different than. And someday I would like, the operators to go out and actually, before wintertime, investigate or inspect these mailboxes. And if you got a person's mailbox is hanging on by some baling wire and some nails, well, that's a lot different than somebody that put a fresh post up, and then all of a sudden we get the call that says you hit my mailbox. Well, heck, the wind blew it over, that's different. So something I want to look at here in the future. I say that, now finding the time to evaluate that stuff is something else, but I want to just kind of put it in the forefront and maybe get some gears grinding and think about it a little bit.
That's a lot of mailboxes.
We go through a lot of mailboxes, so, but, I mean, at least notice the ones that are leaning heavily one way and barely holding on. That's the one thing. So sometimes we end up in a trap, you can't really remember what it looked like before winter, but it's gone, buried in a pile. So that's all I've got for updates. Then we've got the 2080 agreement. I need to get that back to we did our final reviews yesterday on our rural grant. This is just the final step for us to submit to our our consultant to turn this in. We plan on turning our rural grant in on Friday. So the only thing different from what I submitted to you last week was all of the county's numbers were now finalized in the grant application, or in the 28E with them. So our number changed a little bit. We're looking at a preliminary estimated cost of $7,378,203. That's construction only. And then the funds for the grant are only used for construction. We're asking for $5,533,652. So if I can get an approval for this 2080 agreement so we can get this going, I can get that sent back.
The resolution is approving the 2080 agreement, correct?
Correct.
So it's a resolution, so I will read it. So resolution number 1186-23 in support of the joint NPDG grant agreement and letter of support for the 2023-2024 multimodal program discretionary grant project. Whereas Mitchell County, Iowa FM route designation numbers T40 and A23 have been identified as being part of a joint multimodal program discretionary grant project. And whereas it is desired by and in the interest of Mitchell County to participate fully in the MPDG project activities as a sub-recipient and provide all requisite information necessary to bring to completion all project phases through final completion. And whereas we are in support of Guthrie County providing lead recipient roles and duties. And whereas understand, and accept the sub-recipient roles and responsibilities as defined in the 28E Cooperative Agreement for a multimodal program discretionary grant project. And whereas each county roadway project sponsor, as shown in section 4, paragraph A through F, shall be responsible for all local matching funds and accepts any cost exceeding the funds requested in the MPDG grant application for the respective structure. Therefore be it resolved that the Board of Supervisors of Mitchell County, Iowa hereby approves and directs the chair to sign this letter of support for the fiscal year 23-24 multimodal program discretionary grant project and the 28E cooperative agreement for a multimodal program discretionary grant project, and to provide all pertinent correspondence and project information to Josh Sebrin. He's the Guthrie County engineer, has his address here, and if we approve, it's adopted today.
And in addition, that also approves the 2080 agreement with Guthrie County as their.
Okay, so as you said, this approves the 2080 agreement. It's Guthrie County being the lead. I'll accept a motion to approve resolution number 1186-23.
Make that motion.
Hartley makes a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Mayor seconds. Any further discussion?
I just have one question on that. It just says the year 2024. There's nothing in there that would be for the year right now.
It's a 23-24 fiscal year, so this is this year's application for the multimodal development grant, or the MB, whatever that acronym is. MPDG project grant, so it's for this year's grant application. Doesn't have anything to do with when the projects are being let or designed or anything like that. It's just for the submittal of this year's grant.
Okay. I just wasn't sure if we needed to 2023.
No, it's 23-24, so it's for this fiscal year that we're in there.
Any other discussion? Hearing none.
Roll call, Todd,
Aye.
Jim,
Aye.
Cindy, Mike,
Aye.
Mark.
Aye. Motion carries.
So if I could get the 2080 re-signed on the back where we are, then we'll turn that into the Service Bureau. And if I can get that today, I need to get that submitted.
I highlighted mine. Do you have one?
I've got one here that if you want to sign the 28E, and I don't have the resolution number on top. Do you have one with the resolution on top? Here's the 28E agreement. We'll have you something like there and want to go sign first. And did you have you said you're the one that marked up?
Yeah, I highlighted mine.
Okay. You have the one with the resolution number on it.
There was something here that had a date that needed to be put at the top.
Yeah, it was on the top of that one. I think that's when the Service Bureau will sign off on that. We don't need to let them fill that out yet.
Okay, right here. Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
That's all I've got for you.
Good with all that?
Thank you.
Any questions for the engineer? We had a meeting with Northland Securities and we went over our finances. Do you need any money for your department?
Always need money for projects.
Okay.
I just gotta be able to get projects out the door, but yes, we can always.
I know there's a need. I
There's a
know
need.
things that there's a need.
Oh, yeah.
In the department.
Mhm.
We'll probably run it, we'll probably be in the agenda and we'll be discussing that.
Okay. And then I will be here. I'll make it a point to be here tomorrow for that
Okay.
meeting, and then Thursdays I should be here. So.
All right,
Thank you.
very good. Thank you. We're gonna back up and see Dave's here. Do you want to talk about that that unit a little bit?
Well, I just, if there's any questions, or unfortunately, we are pretty much at their mercy.
What has there been, what has been the problem with it as far as it failing or what's been going
It
on?
leaked, the coils leaked, and unfortunately then the rest of the systems on that zone are down, and they've got it isolated now. So the rest of the systems are back up and cooling again, but, it's time consuming doing that. And the labor adds up, because it's close to probably 5 or 6 hours to pump it down to a vacuum. It's whatever, part of the process, and they'll have to do all that again when they get the new fan coil unit and install it. And I, just out of curiosity, and we'll see Randy at some point, that quote really didn't say how much of it was covered under warranty and how much is labor's. Unfortunately, either way, I feel like we don't have much choice. We gotta do it.
You said it was a 12-week waiting?
Yes.
period? So,
Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
Is it,
Which means, what's that mean? Probably more.
is that in the location where it's gonna be a problem with heating in that area?
It could potentially be, pushed into November, December. I think the other rooms around that would keep us out of trouble.
Okay.
Right now, they're opening doors and it's pretty comfortable.
Okay.
They're fortunate, that's fortunate. Part is they really haven't had any problems with that.
Well, we put on the agenda for next week, you mentioned the warranty, if we don't have it, I hate to approve that and then find out. I'd like to know the warranty thing before we approve the dollar amount. But so we put on the agenda, but then if we haven't heard from Randy in regards to the warranty, well, then we'll just put it back for another week or something.
Okay.
That sound
Yep.
good?
Yep.
Okay. Any questions for Dave on what's going on or what it is or?
Yeah, I understand what it needs. It needs fixed.
So is it, you're talking warranty, is it something new that?
Well, yeah, I could show you the warranty. I don't understand what it says because it's, how that stuff is. I interpreted it as supposed to be 10 years, but, that's just my, I'll get back to you.
Yeah, and that won't be labor, I'm sure it's just.
Price, yep. Yep. And like everything else, availability is, an issue.
Any other questions?
But with Casper here, is that somebody,
They're the ones.
They're the ones that are gonna do it.
okay,
Yeah, that's the quote it's from Casper.
okay,
I should have said that, I'm sorry.
okay.
Doesn't Casper usually just take care of this building? Aren't they the guys?
Yes, it's so proprietary that unless you have their software, their training,
Right.
local guys can't touch
Yeah,
it.
there's a lot of local that does commercial like this. Probably nobody,
Thank you much.
Yep.
I'll get back, we'll talk about how to word that for the next meeting, so. Okay. Approved recorders, monthly report for July. So we have, total collected was $14,784.65. The county's share of that was $6,445.19. Whereas the recorder did most of the work, if not all, but then the state got $8,341. Guess I just wanted to make that known. There were record management fees of $187, so the total amount paid to the county treasurer is $6,632.19. So I'll accept the motion for that dollar amount.
I'll make a motion for that.
Henderson makes a motion.
I'll second.
Brian seconds. Any further discussion? Hearing none.
Roll call, Mark.
Aye.
Mike.
Aye.
Sydney. Jim.
Aye.
Todd.
Resolution approving Mitchell County Urban Renewal Plan Amendment Agreement between Mitchell County and City of Osage. So again, and Rachel, you said this resolution number is 1187-23?
Yep.
All right. So this is a resolution, and I will read it. Mitchell County Urban Renewal Plan Amendment Agreement. County resolution number is 1187-23, and the city resolution is 23-24-14. And before I read the whole thing, I'm just back up a little bit. We have to do this because this has to do with the A to Z project that we are in support of doing. And it's within 2 miles of the city limits. And because of that, the code requires that we have an agreement with the city. It just requires we have to have an agreement with the city. So that's what this is about. Resolution to approve city-county agreement. Whereas pursuant to Chapter 403 of the Code of Iowa, counties are given certain urban renewal powers. And whereas in accordance with Section 403.17, Parent 4 of the code, a county may exercise urban renewal powers with respect to property that is located within 2 miles of the boundary of a city only if the county and city have agreed and entered into a joint agreement with respect to such exercise of the powers. And whereas the Mitchell County Board of Supervisors has begun the process of amending its urban renewal plan and tax increment financing district. And whereas some of the property within the proposed urban renewal plan area described as partial 10-36-100-001 is located within 2 miles of the boundary of the city of Osage, Iowa. And whereas the Mitchell County Board of Supervisors has requested that the city enter into a new agreement in order to enable the county to continue to exercise urban renewal powers within that portion of the urban renewal area that is within 2 miles of the boundary of the city. Now therefore be it resolved by the county and the city as follows. Section 1, that the county may continue to exercise urban renewal powers with respect to that portion of the property included within the amended area that is within 2 miles of the boundary of the city. And Section 2, that this agreement shall be deemed to meet the requirements of Section 403.17, Parent 4, and shall be effective following approval by the governing bodies and execution by the appropriate officials of the city and county. The city passed and approved it the 7th of August 2023, and if we approve it, that's today's date is what we'll put in there. So I will accept a motion to approve County Resolution 1187-23.
I'll make a motion to approve County Resolution 1187-23.
Mayor has made a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none.
Roll call, Sydney. Mark.
Aye.
Todd.
Aye.
Jim.
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Discussion of possible action on Johnson Controls Plant Service Agreement renewal. We had one of these a little while back, and this is a 5-year agreement with them, but that had to do with other aspects. The other one had to do with, it was for jail, it was for the jail and for the services building, and it was for fire alarm and backflow. Where this one is for, sprinklers, backflow, and extinguishers. And it is, this one is for the courthouse and the services building and the jail. So different, controls and different services that this agreement is for. Make sure I got the right dollar amount here. I think you guys got this too, didn't you?
Yes.
Did everybody get this?
Yep.
Yeah.
I think it's 1,896.33.
There you go, yep. It's a 5-year, so they've got it built in that they get more each year of the 5 years. But as Todd said, this, well, I don't think we're gonna approve it for a dollar amount, we're just gonna approve the 5-year contract is what we would do. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think I called Rachel on this. This one is just the courthouse, isn't it?
This one is,
We approved the jail a while
yeah,
back.
this one's the courthouse.
But it's got,
It does have all,
this is for the jail and the services building, but it's different things being covered than what the last one was.
I think the last one was the fire alarm system, and this one's the sprinkler, and, it's a separate system.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
I just looked
Sprinkler
that
and
up.
fire extinguishers, yeah. I think that one was the fire alarm system itself.
It had, the other one said something about backflow also,
That's the sprinkler.
so,
Okay.
so it's different stuff, but,
It's nice to keep it all under one,
yep.
I think it's probably good. If Dave's comfortable working with them, which it sounds like he is, doesn't have issues, so.
Well, and it's probably not something that you can change over to somebody else, because if it's their controls, they probably got it locked into.
Fire extinguishers, I mean, they can,
Well,
they're generic, and the sprinkler system is, I doubt this, well, some of the controls could be Johnson controls.
Okay.
Yeah, but there's companies out there that do it, but, if he's comfortable with them and if doesn't have problems, I think it's good to keep it all together.
Well, I will, accept a motion to approve the 5-year, contract for Johnson Controls Plan Service Agreement renewal.
I'll make a motion for that, to be with Johnson Controls for 5-year renewal.
Second. There's the first, Hendrickson second. Any further discussion? Hearing none.
roll call, Mike.
Aye.
Jim,
Aye.
Todd,
Aye.
Mark.
Aye.
Cindy. Aye.
Motion carries. Discussion of possible action on HVAC change order number 4. Question came up from Dave and from the contractor and from myself in regards to, there's a giant transformer that sits about a half an inch off the ground down in the basement of the jail. Converts 480 volts down into 240 into 120, and so it has a lot of electricity in it. And we did have some water coming into the basement this spring. Dave took a picture of it, it was quite a significant amount. Some of that probably is because of the concrete that was removed where the condensing units are at on that wall, but at any rate, we want to make sure the sump pump is always working. The floor drains that are down there drain into the sump area, and so the only way to get rid of water down there is by the sump pump. So what this would do is, the sump pump naturally has an on and off switch to cycle it. But what this would do is it has another switch that's, if that sump pump area starts to overfill, it detects that there's water. It's another switch that detects that there's water in the sump area more than what it should be. And then on top of that, then there's 2 floor sensors that will sense if there's there's water on the floor in 2 different locations and down in the basement. If any of those 3 things detect that there's water down there, then it sets off an audible and a visual light in the control room where that's staffed 24/7. And then they'll know that there's something going on down there and they can call Dave or whoever as far as we've got a problem down there. That's what this change order is for. It's set up as a firm price, and the total dollar amount is $6,141. This would be part of we had $50,000 in the contract that's set up for change orders, so this would come out of that $50,000 change order fund, I guess I'll call it. Any questions?
No, I have no questions.
Seems like a lot for, like a sump pump alarm. Yeah, basically what it is.
I'll accept the motion to approve. And CAR stands for Change Authorization Request. So I will accept a motion to approve CAR-4.
I have another kind of.
Certainly, yeah.
You know, I have sensors on the floor, but if the floor is drained to the floor drains go to the pump. You don't really need a sensor on the pump. Why would you need them other places? But there's Dave. Dave, on that sump pump thing, alarm, would you need sensors other places other than just the sump pump? Because if the drains all drain to the sump pump, if the sump pump fails, that's what you need to know, right?
It would be beneficial, because if it's a small leak, you're still gonna get heads up. It may not trigger the sump pump. And if the sump pump's keeping up, it just, it adds another weekend to the problem. If we're gonna do it, I think it's best to have more coverage. Because I walked in there on a weekend and splash, first thing, because the pump seals out.
Well, yeah.
It doesn't always.
Sump pump alarm, yeah.
Right, the sump pump, it was fine, it was keeping up with that, but the problem's still there. And I think we need them.
That's what they designed. I mean, I'm just.
Can I interrupt
Certainly.
I just got a call back from Randy, there wasn't any warranty on that. So
Oh, okay.
that answers that. And that was, good to know. And actually, there's one right up here.
Okay.
Cross your fingers, but now we kind of know what it's gonna cost.
Okay.
The next one goes out.
All right.
Hopefully not.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
So there's been I asked if there's a motion to approve the CAR-4.
I'll move to make that motion.
Ryan makes a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Marco seconds it. Any further discussion? Hearing none.
Roll call, Jim,
Aye.
Cindy, Mike,
Aye.
Mark,
No.
Todd.
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay. Meetings attended. I went to the public meeting that Conservation had in regards to draining down the pond for the repairs needed to the dam. Mike went into all that, so.
I just have, landfill meeting. Just went over budget and their celebration in September.
plus our Northland security meeting.
I went to the Northland Security meeting also, and I went to both of the conservation meetings, but he went over them, so. That's all I had.
I had nothing.
I attended the Summit Carbon IUB meeting, Northland meeting, and Fair Board Friday night out. I worked that. That was a little slower than the fair.
Thank you for mentioning the
Yeah.
IUB meeting. I forgot about, yes, I attended that.
I think we all
also.
attended
Yeah,
that.
we were all at that one.
Yeah,
so,
okay.
Yeah, thank you for that. Clerk of court report for July. With a total of $1,857.65. That is so noted. Public comments. Nobody in the room. I don't know if there's anybody online.
No.
Okay. We are done. Meeting is adjourned.
Have a good one.
Okay. Take care. I'll get you that stuff.
Sounds good.